Welcome to the Breaking News Bears podcast. I'm your host, Chris Capone, joined alongside my co-host once again, Evan Davis, and we are just over 2 months into the MLB season. So what's a better time to talk about some Rookie of the Year uh, voting and what we are looking for as Rookie of the Year? We're going to look at three AL candidates for Rookie of the Year and three NL Rookie of the Year candidates. We're also going to be looking at some of the other teams in MLB right now that are really hot, and we're looking at the Chicago Cubs and their hot offense and how they're taking a lead of the NL Central. And we're going to be looking at the AL Central equivalent of the Detroit Tigers. So, Evan, I just want to quickly first ask you, what do you make, or who's your top for AL Rookie of the Year right now?
Yeah, for me, it's Jacob Wilson, and this was a guy who, like in my 12 team leagues, I had actually drafted with like one of my last picks because I was like, you know what, if the bat works out, then why not? Picked him up in our league as well, and second in the MLB, not just in for rookies, but second in the MLB in hits, and you look at it, a 348 batting average, a 391 on base percentage. He's got 7 home runs, 896 OPS. So it's not like a fluky 348 batting average. Like, no, he's stringing together some extra base hits. And I mean, you look at it just even in particular with his last 7 games. I mean, he's damn near batting 400.
Yeah.
So everyone knew that the bat was going to be something special as a reason why he was taken sixth overall. And from one LA County native to another, my AL Rookie of the Year.
I mean, yeah, Jacob Wilson has been absolutely insane. He's got the crazy batting stance where he's constantly tapping and shaking the bat, and he's got such a wide stance, and he's just making contact. I mean, through the
Hmm.
first couple months or first couple weeks of the season, he didn't have a walk. Like
Yeah.
he was strictly, I'm putting the ball in play, and that's the only way I'm getting out. Like
Hmm.
I'm not gonna let any pitches come to me where like I'm taking multiple pitches in at bat. I'm swinging the bat kind of like a
Hmm.
Luis Arias kind of an approach where, there's pitches outside of the zone that Luis Arias swings at all the time, but Jacob Wilson is making this contact and he's just doing it in such funky ways. I mean, just watching him in yesterday's game against the Blue Jays, he's making contact no matter what. He is just finding ways just to constantly get the bat to the ball. And that's kind of a lost art in MLB today, where most of the other players across MLB are looking more for, line drives and hard contact and barrel rate rather than
Hmm.
hey some guys like this will take weak contact, they'll take weak choppers. That's what they're looking for to get on base in any way they can, and Jacob Wilson has been such an incredible start for the Athletics, not Oakland Athletics, just the Athletics so far this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. And I mean, you even look at it just a lot of the rookies that we kind of were at least hoping to shine have actually done, a fairly solid job. You look at Cam Smith, who was obviously a part of the Kyle Tucker trade, and look, Kyle Tucker is Kyle Tucker, but I mean, the Houston Astros have actually gotten like a pretty solid return. Everyone and their mother knew Isak Paredes was going to hit home runs, especially in Houston. I saw this one stat where like Isak Paredes has 11 home runs on the year, but his expected home runs is like 6.6, and it's the largest discrepancy for like home runs versus expected home runs in the MLB this season, but a lot of that has to do with the Crawford boxes.
Yeah.
And don't think for a second that the data analytics people didn't go up to the GM and say, yeah, if we get Isak Paredes, he's mashing here. Like he's hitting home runs at least here. And you see like I think seven or like I would say I think it's like well over 70% of his home runs have been hit at home. And you look at Cam Smith, and although the OPS isn't crazy and he's not hitting home runs like Kyle Tucker is, he's still very, very good. And he's also very, very young. And this is his first season. He's played more games in the MLB than he has in the minor leagues. Like he's only 22 years old. And look, does he become Kyle Tucker? Probably not. That's a very high ceiling. Can he become three-fourths of Kyle Tucker? Maybe he doesn't have the same height as Kyle Tucker does in the outfield, but he's still a very, very solid piece.
Yeah, and I mean, we look at how how much of an impact Cam Smith has already had on the Astros. Now, the Astros are a playoff team, or like they're in the wild card race right now, and having someone like with that much youth in their lineup full every day is giving them a lot of life because people like or players like Christian Walker have kind of fallen off the face of the earth that it seems like you need someone with youth to kind of give a spark to this offense. And Cam Smith's been really good in his limited in 43 games so far for the Astros with already amassing over 1.3 B WAR already with an OPS plus of 110. Like he's been doing really solid stuff and that's
Hmm.
kind of what the Astros need. They needed stability from a position that, you lost Alex Bregman and you needed someone, uh, you needed something in this offseason to really go your way. And I think Cam Smith has been a real nice bright spot for them after having to make a trade of Kyle Tucker, losing Alex Bregman. But you had kind of can see the makings of the future of the Astros once, kind of the current regime falls out of order.
Yeah, and I think when you also just, you look at all these other, like all the rookies that are also in the American League as well, like I don't know, there's not a ton of others that really stick out other than these two in particular, but I'm sure there's like a third one.
Yeah, Chandler Simpson, the guy who just got sent down
Yeah.
today by the Tampa Bay Rays down to AAA. He was really solid. But another one that's also kind of making waves is Jason Dominguez. Now, this is a guy who's been a prospect for like 5 years
50
now.
years.
Everyone's been talking about Jason Dominguez for the past 5 years, and he's been doing his fair share. 239 batting average, OPS plus of 113 on a Yankees team, but it's that defense. Uh, I just saw a post today where it looked at among the worst defensive runs saved for all outfielders. He's tied for second most with -5 in defensive runs saved, I think.
Yeah.
And he just hasn't been good in the outfield at all. And that's kind of always been the question with him where yeah, we know the guy can hit. We know that's like the big part of his game. But is he just a DH already at the age of 22? Like he's been very bad in the outfield. And it's kind of the thing that's handicapping the Yankees because once Stanton comes back, if he does come back, I don't know how long Stanton's going to be out. They still haven't given a complete timeline on him. But whenever Stanton comes back, and we get to the playoffs, you can't have Jason Dominguez playing full time in the outfield. There will be teams that, shorten their approach and try and hit it to left field and try and make him make plays. I mean, I remember last year in a game against the Cubs, he bobbled it and the Cubs were able to come in to score and win the game because of his really poor defensive play. And this was just in last year when he was only played like 18 games. But it's just like he that's the one thing like he will not he's 22 and he's already looking like a full-time DH. Like it's just not that good, but obviously the hitting's there and he has all the tools hitting wise. It's just the other stuff, the other parts of his game that are really questionable.
Yeah, and it's weird because usually it's a stiffer transition moving from like left field to center field because like center field's obviously his natural position. Aaron Judge is there, but I've never really seen a drop off like this moving from center to left because usually it's a lot easier because you're not having to cover as much ground. But Jason Dominguez looks like a deer in headlights in left field. Like the bat is there, but I just think what's going to kill him is the fact that, I mean, he makes catching a fly ball look like taking the SATs. I mean, it is brutal.
Yeah, he has not been good. -5 outs above average, -5 fielding run value. He's just not a solid defender. He's not a good defender. He's not an average defender. He's way below average. He's one of the worst
Hmm.
in baseball.
Hmm.
But it's just, that's kind of the thing with the growing pains you have with some of these young guys. But it's just we look at other positions and we look at Cam Smith in right field and how good he's been in right field already. It's just
Hmm.
a completely different story, obviously. Jason Dominguez, like you said, natural center fielder playing left. And it's just not the best situation for them right now, and he hasn't
Hmm.
made the best of the opportunity, and he's just not looked good.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Moving on, we're going to talk about some of our National League Rookie of the Year favorites, and I think the Rookie of the Year favorite right now is Drake Baldwin. I mean, he has been absolutely mashing for the Atlanta Braves, and kind of what they needed because to start the season, Sean Murphy was on the IL, and it was looking, kind of sketchy, and kind of throwing Drake Baldwin into the fire all of a sudden, and he's done more than run away with the opportunity a 324 batting average, 145 OPS plus, 883 OPS overall, 1.1 WAR already. I mean, he just looks so good for the Atlanta Braves that it's kind of like, you know, it's what they needed to try and keep themselves afloat. They needed someone to be out there kind of giving them this offense when, Acuna wasn't there and Pereira just got suspended and they were in those early weeks of the season, they were struggling offensively. And Drake Baldwin's kind of been a really nice spark for them where, there's games where he's DHing, there's games or not DHing, but there's games where, he's coming into pinch hit a lot and he's coming into pinch run. He's really made the most of these opportunities.
Yeah, and it's exactly what the Atlanta Braves had needed to your point. And I mean, you talk about like his first handful of games, I think like his first four games, especially, albeit against the Dodgers and the Padres, he went 1 for 15, and everyone was like, well, is this guy going to get sent down? And it was 1 for 15 with one single. Like he, wasn't really seeing the ball well. He started out his MLB career, if you will, going 1 for 18, and everyone thought, and it got to like 2 for 22, and it's like, okay, well, what's going on here? But I mean, you look at the month of May, and he's been spectacular in the month of May. He's batting 400 with an OPS above 1,000 and a 620 slug. So, look, can this be just some early jitters where pitchers are still trying to figure him out? Maybe, but a large enough sample size this month has shown that, he's doing a very solid job. 50 at bats, 20 hits, a couple doubles, a few home runs as well, 9 RBIs. So he's doing a great job, and he's only struck out 5 times in 50 at bats, which is, I mean, that's pretty impressive, especially for a rookie. And throughout this entire season, Drake Baldwin only has a 14.5% strikeout rate, which is kind of unheard of for a rookie because they're so anxious and eager to want to get a hit.
Yeah, and I mean, he's just looked incredibly poised too. Like that's the main thing with the rookie. And I know that's kind of like the telltale. Like everyone says, "Oh, he looks so poised for a rookie." But it's true. Like someone coming into MLB at this age where, it's your first real experience in the big leagues, you're there it's natural to have jitters. It's natural to be thinking, "Oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to." You just got to play the way that you were playing before. There's no way to you got to the major leagues for a reason. There's no reason to change everything that you had done.
Yeah.
And Drake Baldwin's a prime example of that. Now, one note I want to make, one of our other picks for rookie of the year from the National League was AJ Smith-Shawver. And, you know, apparently he felt in his start yesterday, he felt he heard a pop in his elbow. I thought it was his shoulder. He said it was his elbow. And that's really rough to hear. He had looked so good the first seven starts of his career. Uh,
Yeah.
First seven starts, he had a 2.3 ERA, 341 FIP. He looked incredibly poised as a rookie starting pitcher against pretty, not the best competition that he had some of these starts. He faced had 8 scoreless innings against Cincinnati. He went 5 2/3 against Pittsburgh. He had a good start against the Nationals, and then the next start he got completely blown up by the Nationals. But
Yeah.
uh, it's just it really sucks because he was looking it was looking to have two Braves in the same kind of position. But moving on,
Well, AJ Smith-Shawver
yeah.
is going for Tommy John,
Yeah,
torn UCL.
yeah, it sucks to hear that just because, he looked so bright in his, first couple starts. Like I said, his first seven starts, he looked so good
Yeah.
and looked like a future key part of this Braves rotation. But Tommy John surgery is never something good.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
mo-
familiar with that.
yeah, but moving on, trying to bring the mood back up, we got to talk about another catcher who's also in the running for NL Rookie of the Year, and that's Augustine Ramirez. I mean, when he got originally traded last year, he was traded for Jazz Chisholm from the Yankees, and he was that big part of the trade. And he has now been absolutely lighting up MLB. I mean, he's looked so good, and like we said, at such a young age, he's hitting the two spot for the Marlins. Now the Marlins aren't the best team in baseball, and they're not even close. But 7 home runs, 843 OPS, 126 OPS plus. I mean, he's looked so lethal as just a hitter
Yeah.
already starting off his MLB career. And I mean, we talk about yesterday, four hits, a home run, four RBIs against the Padres. He looked insanely, insanely great. He looked amazing being a cat. Like he's taking like full-time catcher role now. You know, like the Marlins had such a weird catching rotation where they had Liam Hicks and they had Nick Fortes, and then they needed to call up Augustine Ramirez. I think they needed to start off the season with him, but he's looked so incredible for this Marlins team. He's just been such a spark plug for them. Someone that they were able just to plug into their lineup and really give them,
Mhm.
give them life in their lineup. I mean, the Marlins still, like I said, they're not even close to being one of the good teams in baseball, but it's players like this that make them fun and exciting to watch. Where you have Augustine Ramirez, you still have Kyle Stowers, who's demolishing the ball. It's just fun to see when you have players like this.
I love Kyle Stowers. I mean, look, I'm gonna toot my own horn. I did say that the Marlins did really well with that trade with Augustine Ramirez because even in the minor leagues he was putting up these type of numbers. Now again, the minor leagues are different than the major leagues. It's a whole different playing field, but I had hope that it could potentially be like this. I don't know what other people were saying, but I at least know that I was saying that Augustine Ramirez is going to be the catcher of the future and that the Marlins are going to be a scary team in 5 to 6 years because you look at the age of the Braves and, or not the Braves, but mainly the Phillies and the Mets. Like when their clock ends, it's kind of like when the Marlins clock is hopefully going to start. And you look at Augustine Ramirez and look, both him and Drake Baldwin have been hideous behind the plate with their blocks above average, both being in like the bottom 5 percentile, but they're hitting the ball, and I guess that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
And you look at it with Augustine Ramirez, he's a year younger than Drake Baldwin, and it's crazy. Like he has a 262 batting average, but his expected batting average is 281. Like that is just an insane difference. But then like his slugging is 525, his X slug is 498. So it's like a lot of just like bad luck, unfortunate, but still at least able to put bat to ball. And you look at his swings, like I mean, he looks so comfortable. It's kind of ridiculous. And he's also very similar to Drake Baldwin, where like he's not striking out a whole ton. 16.5% strikeout rate. Like he's a very disciplined hitter as well. He's putting bat to ball. And look, if the Marlins are smart, they're not going to trade him. I'm just afraid that they are because another team's going to want a 25-year-old catcher in a couple of years that can hit the ball. But you look at it and I mean, you mentioned Kyle Stowers and Connor Norby and now Augustin Ramirez and you'll see what happens with Yuri Perez and they have Ryan Weathers. Like man, they blew up a phenomenal team back in 2017 that had all these MVPs. But man, like God gifted you a second chance with all these star players. Like, take advantage of it. I mean, the trades that they've made, like at the time, even last year when the trades were happening for like getting Stowers and Norby and Ramirez, like I always viewed them as win-wins because I figured, okay, you're not going to pay this guy, but maybe you're not resetting your clock. You're just getting a little bit cheaper. And you see, like Stowers is batting nearly 300 with 30 RBIs, 10 home runs. He's been phenomenal. Ramirez is going to be in consideration for NL Rookie of the Year. It's probably going to be now him and Baldwin battling it out. But I mean, these trades, like knock on wood, but so far through the first month and a half, like all these trades that they made at the deadline last year are immediately paying off this year.
Yeah, and I mean, he's looked so good just starting off his MLB career. I mean, like Augustine Ramirez, I picked him up in fantasy when he first had that little hot streak, and he's been tearing the cover off the baseball. I mean, 31 games, 7 home runs, the plate appearances that he's had, and like you said with the projected stats, where projected to be hitting 280 or expected to be hitting 281. I mean, he's just getting extra base hits. He's just you know, uh 18 of his 32 hits are for extra bases. And that's just kind of what he does. He's just hitting the crap out of the baseball. And he's not kind of forcing the issue. He's kind of playing with his own rhythm and he's just playing how he does, where he's just hitting the ball. He's just being a pure hitter from the plate right now. And like you said, his catching needs to get improved. He needs to be a better catcher if he wants to, stay a long time. But he's played first base in the minor leagues before. He's kind of had that experience where, uh, he might play some games at first base. He's played a decent amount, but that was mainly in the Yankees affiliate system. But still,
Hmm.
he's had the experience there where, not to way tooting my horn way too early, but like Salvador Perez plays first base, William Contreras plays first base in the spare time where when they aren't catching. I mean, that could be an option for the Marlins down the line. I mean, they just DFA'd Matt Mervis today. Um,
Yeah.
and that was something where it's like, oh, well, you know, their kind of production from their first baseman this year has been kind of buns, where, we have Eric Wagaman and Matt Mervis as your two starting first basemen. Maybe they run the three catcher rotation where on days where Augustine isn't catching or DHing, he's playing first. I mean, he's had the experience of it. Why not roll it out there? But let's just have a fun lineup out there. Let's have Augustine Ramirez playing first. Um, but yeah, one of the last NL Rookie of the Year favorites I want to talk about. I mean, I originally picked him for my NL Rookie of the Year. It was Dylan Cruz, and he had a really, really rough start to the season. I mean, I
Hmm.
think I think he was like 0 for like 20 or something. He looked
Something
worse. Like
crazy like
he looked
that.
one of the
Yeah.
worst possible starts uh to one of your seasons. But since then, he's really kind of, he's hitting in the nine spot for the Nationals right now. In his first 25 at bats, he had one hit. That was atrocious. Um, but since then, he's kind of been putting it together where since starting 1 for 25, he's hitting 226 now, a little bit better, but he has 7 home runs. It still isn't the caliber of Rookie of the Year I thought he was going to be. And he's on the 10-day IL right now, but he's been a positive when it comes to WAR for the Nationals, and kind of using this as an excuse just to talk about where the Nationals are right now. I mean, James Wood has been one of the most incredible players I think I've ever seen for someone this young. And it's a shame that he played so many games last year because he would be running away with Rookie of the Year right now in the
Yeah.
NL. If he just didn't end up playing 80 games last year, if they could have kind of, give him the end of the season last year, but not as many games, that he would still be eligible for this year. Because holy crap, man. I mean, we look at the Rookie of the Year race last year in the NL where you had Jackson Merrill, Jackson Chourio, and Paul Skeens. And now this year it's kind of like, okay, well, we have two catchers and right now a starting pitcher who's injured. And then it's just imagine being Jackson Chourio or Jackson Merrill, where you're like, man, if I stayed an extra year in the minors somehow, I would have got an easy thing. It just happened to be Paul Skeens in the National League. But
Yeah.
the talent in the National League so far, and I mean, Justin Glaze, James Wood again. I mean, he's looked so good. 15 home runs to start the year, 9 stolen bases, OPS plus of 168. He's looked incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks. It
Mm.
just sucks that he played too many games. But no, Dylan Cruz has also been really good. And I mean, I'm gonna continue to say it. The Padres got fleeced. And
Yeah.
if the Nationals like I always wonder, like, what if the Nationals never made that Juan Soto trade? Like, where would their team be right now? Because I know, like, Dylan Cruz didn't come from that trade, but everything else that's kind of like made the team watchable again and like has media attention is the players from the Juan Soto deal. Robert Hassel, James Wood, CJ Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, first pitcher this season to 100 strikeouts. Like, collectively as a unit, like, thank you, Padres.
Yeah. Could you imagine where the Padres would be if they didn't make
I
that
don't want to
trade?
imagine that.
I know
No, I
that's
don't
the
want to
thing.
imagine that.
They could be incredibly scary. I mean, they have like 60 shortstops on their roster already, but CJ, which made the main reason for the trade to trade CJ Abrams away made sense because you had, Tatis was playing short, and then you had Merrill in the minors as a shortstop, and then they moved him to center field for this, and then they had, they were gonna sign Xander Bogaerts eventually, and all this. Hassan Kim was still there.
Yeah.
They had an abundance of shortstops, but it's still the Nationals with all these moves, and especially the big move of the Juan Soto trade. They've completely revitalized their franchise. I mean, like you said, it's made them watchable. It's they took the team that looked in the depths. Like they looked if they didn't make that Juan Soto trade and he ends up going to the Mets anyway, or being traded for the Yankees later down the line where he has less value, uh, it, we don't know where the Nationals could be right now. They could be worse than the Rockies. They could be like contending with the White Sox. Instead, they're only half a game back of the Braves in the division right now. And I mean, I don't think they're in the spot contending for a wild card spot. And I don't think they'll be for the rest of this year. But there's a possibility in the years to come where we're looking at the Nationals as holy crap, they built their entire franchise off this trade. And
Yeah.
like this entire run that they could end up having is facilitated by that trade where,
Hmm.
people thought, oh man, the Padres won the trade, they're going to be contending for a World Series. Well, Juan Soto left in a year and a half later, or had to get traded a year and a half later, and then eventually ended up signing with the Mets. I mean, what an incredible trade for the Nationals this was.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
thank you,
just
Nationals.
just clap it up for them because
Yeah.
The Padres could be, contending for the next 50 years, it would seem, if they were able to keep all these guys on their roster. But moving on, we're going to talk about the Chicago Cubs and their kind of surgence as of late. I mean, they just lost, as of right now, they just lost to the Reds today, 6-2. But I mean, Seiya Suzuki this season, coming into the season, there was real questions about what are the Cubs going to do with him. I mean, he wasn't really going to be playing in the field. People were thinking, oh, is he fine with being a full-time DH? He has 14 home runs and 51 RBIs in 52 games. He's almost getting an RBI per game at this point. I mean, he's looked incredible, where it's to the point where this Cubs offense is so lethal.
Yeah.
Where do we get to a point where Kyle Tucker, you know, is there a point where Kyle Tucker signs an in-season extension? I mean, it's looking like this Cubs team is looking really solid, and this is without, Justin Steele out for the season. Where do they go from here?
I I don't know. I mean, I look at the Chicago Cubs team and it just written all over it is regular season team, like as of right now. And I'm not trying to discredit like their talent because this offense is absolutely loaded. Dansby Swanson, Kyle Tucker, Seiya Suzuki, P. Crow Armstrong. I mean, this is probably the best offense in baseball when you look at it. And my only concern is just their pitching staff is meh. Like it's just
Yeah,
blech. Outside of Matthew Boyd and Shota Imanaga, I mean, who are you trusting in a game three or preferably a game two because you want to break up your lefties? Is Jamison Tyone like Ben Brown? Like uh, Colin Rea just got rocked today, and like he's not been anything great. He's not a great strikeout pitcher. That's not going to bode well against the Dodgers, the Mets, the Padres. Like if you can't strike these guys out, I'm sorry, like the ground balls are not they might work against the Marlins. They're not going to work against the
the
elite
big
of the
boys.
elite. So I was like, I was thinking if I'm the Chicago Cubs, I'm calling the Arizona Diamondbacks and saying, what does it take to get Zach Gallen?
Mm,
Because if you look at the Arizona Diamondbacks and the trajectory that they're on, I mean, they're terrible. They are terrible. And they're probably not going to make the playoffs just because the NL West is a freaking gauntlet. The NL in general is a gauntlet. Like they're they're losing and blowing way too many games, like the seven spot in the eighth inning that they gave up against the Pirates not too long ago. Allowing 14 runs in one game against the Colorado Rockies is the craziest thing I've ever heard. They were up 5 runs in that game as well. That game against the Dodgers when they gave up 6 runs in the ninth, like the team isn't good. Like they're not good. Like they're good, but they're not. Like they're a game under 500. They're probably not going to make the playoffs at this rate. Are you going to pay Zach Gallen? Because he's a UFA at the end of this year. He hasn't been well this season. Maybe he needs a change of scenery. Like I was just thinking out loud here before we got on. I'm like, if I'm the Cubs, I need a right-handed pitcher that I can trust. And although Gallen hasn't been good, we know what he's capable of. And maybe he just needs to get out of that hideous ballpark in Arizona where it's too hot, the roof is open, the ball travels 500 feet. I don't know. I think it makes all the sense in the world because if you're the Diamondbacks and you're thinking to yourself, I'm not going to pay Zach Allen, well, maybe the Cubs will pay him because they know that they're going to be the best team in the NL Central. They're probably going to be the 1 or 2 seed when the season is done. Why not make the trade for Zach Allen?
Yeah, and I mean they need a right-handed starter bad. I'm looking you got to look at all the teams around baseball and see who's middling, who's mid, and who would be willing to give up a starter for a decent amount of a price. I mean, you got to get someone to if you want to really contend this year, I feel like you have to with, the kind of the clock you have ticking for Kyle Tucker. You want to make the best impression possible. if
Yeah,
you if you overpay on a trade that to start to go into the playoffs with a actual right-handed starter that's good, you need to do something. And I think you need to overpay. You're gonna have to overpay and just, suck it up. You're gonna have to deal with it.
yeah.
Um, but quickly, what I want to talk about, I think we always talk about the Detroit Tigers, but I mean, the Detroit Tigers are one of the greatest stories I think in the last over a year and a half now of sports where you know in August last year or they trade everyone at the deadline away and they think, all right, we're tanking this year, and everyone else on their roster says screw that, we're making a postseason push. And right now they have the best record in baseball at 37-20. They just get out of a series where they swept the Giants, going into a series today against the Royals. They have just looked so good recently. I mean, they did lose 3-4 to Cleveland. And then that fourth game was, I don't think any Tigers fan cares about the series when that fourth game ended up with with a complete game shutout. Maddox with 13 strikeouts for Tariq Skubal.
Oh,
But holy
that's
crap.
sad.
But the Detroit Tigers have been such an amazing story to watch this whole season, and they've just been really turning heads everywhere.
Yeah, and I'm gonna plug I write for a website called Last Word on Sports. I that my focus is the Detroit Tigers. If you want to go check it out, go support your boy. But you look at the Detroit Tigers, and it's like I hate to say it, but like as I said again, like AJ Hinch is one of the best current managers that the game has, and you look at this pitching staff, and I mean, I don't like when fully healthy, I don't think there's a more terrifying pitching staff than the Detroit Tigers from like starting rotation to bullpen. Game one, Tariq Skubal. Game two, Jack Flaherty. Game three, you could do Casey Mize or Reese Olson. Like you have so much at your disposal. And then you look at the back end of the bullpen, you have Tyler Holton, and now you have Tommy Canley, and you have Will Vest, and you got so much freaking talent, and you're in a good division. Like the AL Central is finally starting to pick it up again, but it's such a winnable American League where I really just don't see any team taking out the Tigers, and that includes the Yankees, because I look at the Tigers and I'm like, this is a team that can beat you 3-0, 3-1, but they can also beat you 7-5. Like they have the offense that's capable of it. Now it's only a matter of if Javi Baez continues and Gleyber Torres continues this. Like only time will tell. It's a very short part of the season that we're reviewing, but if they can continue like that, I mean, I don't think there's any team in the American League that has a better starting rotation and a better bullpen than the Tigers.
I mean, yeah, you just look at the entire lineup top to bottom. You have guys that are mashing right now. Spencer Torkelson, another guy where, like I said before, he's kind of was looking at like, is he going to stay in Detroit for too much longer? I mean, there were really bad struggles in 2024 where he got sent to the minor leagues and had to come back and really prove himself. And this year, he's already surpassed his home run total with 13 home runs this year and 10 last year.
Yeah.
It's really important for this team to keep this hot streak going. And
Hmm.
it's really it just really matters that these guys are playing so good. I mean, someone like Zach McKinstry, who's been, he's just kind of came out of nowhere, really. I mean, last year he was decent. I mean, not even really decent. He was more of just a utility defender, but now this year he's tearing the cover off the baseball. I mean, he's hitting
Hmm.
272 with a 125 OPS plus. He's looked really good after, really just being a utility guy, a utility defender in the infield that could play every position. And he's looked better than that already playing third base for the Tigers most of the time. I mean, And you talk about it with their bullpen, Will Vest, Tommy Kahnle, Bo Brisky. Even Bo Brisky hasn't pitched that well, but he's still a guy that came in last year in really important games for them in the playoffs and was able to get outs.
Hmm.
Um, and it's just their entire rotation, and like you said, their entire rotation and their bullpen is unbeatable right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's all incredible what they're doing. And we talk about Scooble, but like and he's, I mean, at this rate, he's probably going to win the Cy Young again because I don't see another pitcher in baseball that's as dominant as him. I mean, to throw a Maddox with 13 strikeouts, but then to have the final strike be 103 on the inside, that like watching that, it just felt like the F you, I'm out of here pitch. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
going to end this thing now and I'm just going to blow it by you. And his changeup is just devastating. It is and then to go from the changeup to a sinker and then a fastball. I mean, I don't know how anybody stands in the box and hits against him
I mean, in the month of May so far, he already has 52 strikeouts in 34 innings. He's
in
just
two
what
walks.
Yeah, and two walks. And 50 and 52 strikeouts to two walks. I mean, is that good? You tell me. 1.52 FIP with a 2.65 ERA, but that's kind of brought down from that one Boston start where he gave up 5 earned runs. But still, what an incredible pitcher he is. I mean, last notes before we head off, what do you think the numbers look like for a potential for an extension for him? What do you think the money comes down to at this point?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you want to look at my article, just throwing it out there, I mentioned it. So he's going to be like 29 years old. He still has another year of arbitration, but like if I'm Scooble and his agent, I'm saying like we're getting rid of this last year of arbitration. Like if you take me if I'm Scooble, I say if you take me to arbitration this year, I'm not signing an extension with you. Like I would try to do that. And I don't see how he doesn't get 250 million or like something like that because he's worth $50 million. I mean, I don't care how you slice it. And sure, you could say, like, I don't want to pay a 34-year-old that. Well, like, tough toenails. I mean, Scoop, like, have we seen a. This is like Randy Johnson. And although he doesn't have the accolades of World Series and everything, but when was the last time we saw a left handed pitcher this freaking dominant? Like, I
Yeah.
don't remember the last time I've seen a picture, and you could say prime David Price, and he did it over a longer period of time. I'm with you on that. Maybe that's a fair comparison, but I just think in today's day and age where the home runs and the analytics are a little bit more advanced, and not to discredit David Price, but like everything is now being scouted to the very second. Like every pitch you're looking at on your stupid iPad. I mean, maybe David Price, and then after that we'll figure it out. But like, this is a $250 million pitcher.
I mean, yeah, he's just been incredible. But that'll just about do it for this episode of Breaking News Bears. Once again, I want to thank my co-host Evan Davis. I want to once again want to thank you guys, the listeners. Make sure to like and subscribe for another episode of Breaking News Bears on the way.